suppose it's a very special place and has a lot of very special meanings. We've got something else that we want to share with you, but we've got some other guests here. Sort of please come in. You're listening? You're listening? Kia ora, kia ora. What's up? Bill or Joe? Everything has a beginning, and I think, Bill, maybe the, or Joe, oh Joe's got it, maybe the best place for you to go is just on those seats behind, and if we could all just turn around. Joe's going to show you the beginning of one of these big trees.
They right there, you're actually good there, I can use for an example. Would you like to hold on to this?
I would be delighted to.
Sorry.
Bring that in there.
Go ahead.
We'd like to come over here, sir. Please come over here. Okay. Now can everyone just face that way and hold out what they've got in their hands so everyone can see? Now, kauri trees, they produce both male and female canes on the same tree, otherwise known as asexual or hermaphrodite. It is the male canes, which our gentlemen are holding on to, are the first to form on the branches. Looks like a male, doesn't it?
Sometimes.
They are the first to form on the branches. Then the female canes begin to form about 1 inch to 8 inches away from the male. It is when they're about the size of the one our young lady over here is holding on to. As you can see, they're made up of hundreds of different sections. They begin to open, very, very similar to that of a rose starting to open. Once open, the male begins to pollinate the female. It's done by wind. This process takes about 48 hours. Once the female canes have been pollinated, they'll then close back up and continue to grow. But unfortunately for the male, he's enjoyed his 48 hours. He will then die and fall away to the ground. But not too bad, eh, see? 48 hours. The female cane...
48 hours.
Well, you'll have to come back over here. The female canes will continue to grow until they reach the size of about the size of a tennis ball. It's when they get to the sides, they begin to break up into those many, many sections. And they look like this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it to that lady there. And since you're holding on to these ones there, ma'am, I'll get you to hold on to these ones. They break up into those many sections like that. But sitting on each one of those sections, there's a little wee slot in it. As you can see, what I'm going to do, I'm going to place something in each one of those little slots. Because sitting in that little section there is one of these. Now they've been laminated to protect them because they are very, very fragile. It sits in that section there. It sits in that section there. Now that is actually the seed. They look like this. I've got a couple on this piece of paper. They look like this. As you can see, it's got a little wing. As they begin to break up into those many sections like that, those sections fall to the ground, the seed depart and begins to fly like a little helicopter. And hopefully it'll blow somewhere in the wind and land and begin to grow. And of course, just think that this magnificent giant that you have come to visit germinated from a little seed as big as this about 2,000 years ago, about the same time as the birth of Christ.
Everything has a beginning is all I'm going to say. And Joe used to work for Department of Conservation, so he's been working in this forest for quite a long time. We're happy to answer any other questions if there are any.
This germination, I don't know if we should ask.
Probably
is it possible in this kind of environment, or does it require, like the redwood trees in California, like a fire or something to clear the undergrowth?
The redwood is totally different to these particular trees here. The seeds, if you burn this environment here, will die. They need moisture. Like this environment is a subtropical environment, so it needs a lot of moisture.
That's exactly
and that's why we're the opposite to, these trees are opposite to the giant redwood. Okay? I know with
so
giant
they can germinate in this kind of undergrowth?
They'll germinate. Actually, when we walked around the track there, we actually walked past many, many little ones that only stand about this big.
So we had a question too from this gentleman over here who, Joe, how many plants live in the top of this tree?
If you look within Tane Mahuta's branches, this tree has 35 other trees, flowers and ferns growing within its branches. Here's the ecosystem a forest within its branch.
And so those plants that are up there now, they're living with the tree,
They're
and
living-
there are some plants that I
They're
suppose
living off the tree, aren't they? Can't they get new?
You saying they're parasites? These ones, in this case here, are actually not parasites. They're just living within his branch.
yeah, so they're
The
living
ones-
with the tree. These
Living
ones.
with- yeah,
'cause
they're
there's
But there
are
trees that
some
just
plants-
suck the,
There are some plants that whose objective it is to try and kill the tree and take over that tree and then become that tree. And thankfully enough, none of those plants can be found on this tree at this moment in time. I have to say that everything, of course, is entirely up to Mother Nature. But at the moment, you know, we've got some you know, tracks here and some viewing platforms, and these platforms help us to not walk on the feeding roots of this tree. And so, in combination with that and maybe Mother Nature, we hope that this tree is going to live, you know, substantially longer. There is a tree further down heading that direction, they believe, is the oldest known kauri in this forest, and it's said to be, well, estimated age of 4,000 years. And it is amazing. It has a bigger waistline than this tree, but not nearly as tall, maybe only 30 metres or 90 feet tall. So there's some big ones around, and to think that maybe only 100 odd years ago, this tree was just a baby. There were some other big ones, some huge ones, and circumference of 26 metres, so what's that, 50, maybe 70 feet, 100 years ago. Unfortunately, those trees, they were destroyed by either, you know, man chopping them down, or by winds, because they're susceptible to being blown over in winds because they have a shallow root system, or fire, So only a baby maybe 100 odd years ago, today largest known. Special tree, Tane Mahuta, the Lord of the forest.
How deep would the roots of this tree be?
Joe?
They go down only 5 metres, not 3 deep. And they're like steak roots, they're like that. But all the main feeding roots come out under the surface.
Yeah.
So how deep, Joe?
Only about 5 metres.
5 metres,
Not very
15
deep at all.
feet down the roots.
That's why when Kuro mentioned the canopy layer, from the small to the medium to the large, these trees are part of the crown canopy. So they need the secondary canopy to protect them from the wind. If you take away the secondary canopy, it makes them vulnerable to being blown over by Mother Nature.
And I think that this gentleman's question over here is very, very relevant, because everybody needs one another in this environment. You know, and we look around and we see many different types of trees, plants, flowers. You know, everything has a role to play, like all of us in life. Whatever role that might be, I don't know. But particularly in these environments, while it's a competitive environment, as you probably already know, it's also an environment where everybody relies on one another. And the main objective is to live, is to grow. And you know what? They're living and they're growing for us. That's why I go back to that one word I would use. If you ask me what one word would you use to summarise this environment, or environments like it, because it's not just the Waipawa forest, it's forests all over the world that we have to protect. Why? L-I-F-E. Hutia te rito te hara keke, kei hea te heko ma koe ko, ki mahai ki aha. Te mea hanui o te hea maku e ki ahata he tangata hi.
If the centres of our flat-footed were to be plucked, where would our bellbirds sing? If you were to ask me what is the most greatest thing in this world, then I should answer, 'tis people, 'tis people, 'tis people. That flaxbush is this magnificent tree that we have come to visit, and the many, many trees that make up this magic environment. The bellbirds are the many birds that call this environment their home. But if you were to ask me what is the most greatest thing in this world, then I should answer, it's us. It's us as people. It's us as people we need to understand how important environments like these are to each and every one of us. So, kia ora, everyone.
So on that note, whānau, believe it or not, close to 40 minutes already. We're going to sort of make our way back out to the coach very, very shortly, but before we do, we'd just like to say a few words, Bill, if you wouldn't mind, and just ensuring that well, the rest of your journey in New Zealand and your journey when you return home away to Canada, to America, to Australia, if I've messed some countries up, sorry, may that journey, those journeys be safe. May your passage be safe. So on that note, Bill, if you wouldn't mind.
Kia ora. E ngā whaia, e ngā matua, tēnā koutou. E haere mene ki te tautoko ia mātu i ngā footprints e ngā kaimahi. Nā reira tēnā koutou, kia ora huhi mai tātou katoa. Wherever you may travel in this world, travel safely back to your friends, family, whānau and loved ones. Kia ora everyone.
Io matua kore o matua nu. Ko koe anake te kaihanga e ngā mea katoa. E tū rangatira nei a hau e haka korore nei tō ingoa tapu. E tū nei a hau ki te pohotoku matua papatuanu. E toto atu nei ki tō marangi nui tōku whaia, no tō aroha no i tū kahai ahau. He matua mo tēnei ngā here, kai te aki mō ngā werere ana mō ngā rākau katoa e tupu ana, mō ngā manu me ngā kararehe katoa. I tū ahai akau. E tēnei matua, e tū ana i raro. Tēnā koe te matua. I o matua kore o matua, ko koe anake te kaihanga i ngā mea katoa. Haumi e, hui e, taiki e. On that note, thank you all very much for providing us with this opportunity to show you what we think obviously is a very important forest and a very special tree. Thank you also for providing us with an opportunity to, in this brief time, share with you our culture. And I just want to say that on behalf of our team, we are proud to be Maori. We are proud to be also, of course, New Zealanders. And so enjoy the rest of your time in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And wherever you may go afterwards, may your passage be safe.
And yours.
Thank you very much, sir.
Kia ora.
Yours and yours.